Hello, welcome to Pop Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
Today, we are going to discuss the elusive Nintendo Direct that finally happened. We thought we'd get one back around E3, and it was a couple months late, but we are here, we're ready to talk about it. But first, let's do our check in. Caleb, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm a little tired because today I did my over the past couple months because I started my new job. I've been taking a break with stuff at the church, and so today I decided to fill in a couple places with the youth band, and I played guitar today, and so like I've been up since 6, and then I was at church until about 3 or 4, and I'm just like, how did I do this every week like less than 4 months ago? And I'm like, I can't ever do that again. So that's a little that was kind of an eye opener. I think I'm becoming an adult now and can't do
Yeah.
stuff like
What's
that.
how old are you?
25.
25. That sounds about right because when I was early 20s, I was working in children's church, and I would we would film a video on Saturday, and I'd stay up like most of the night watching Adult Swim and editing the video for Sunday the next day, and get up Sunday. So I'd be up half the night working on videos, and then I just hit a probably around the time of first. No, he was born by then. Yeah. I was gonna say probably when my oldest son was born, I probably stopped. But no, it was past that. But I did hit a wall where I just could not do that anymore. And it was probably around 25, 24, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but other than that, it's been a pretty chill week. Um, watch that movie Boss Level on Hulu. That was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun with that. I think Frank Grillo is like our modern day like Dolph Lundgren or something. Like he's not necessarily like the biggest action star, but it's always like guaranteed to like be a good time. Um, and then as far as games I've been playing, I've just been playing stuff that previous stuff that was announced. Like I've been going back to Breath of the Wild, looking for stuff, and started playing Kirby Forgotten Lands, which that game so much fun, so much fun. Um, but yeah, just been a super chill week. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. I started watching a YouTube channel called GOT Gaming, and he's basically a music reaction channel. But he started reacting to Attack on Titan, and he had never seen an anime before. And so through that, I have gotten back into Attack on Titan because I never finished it when I was reading it before. So he was only doing like 3 episodes a week, and I couldn't take 3 episodes anymore a week. So I yesterday or Friday, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to zoom ahead. So I started watching them, and I think I'm in season 3 right now. I watched probably about 20 episodes yesterday. uh, and I forget how bleak that show is, but it's a lot of fun. If you like stuff like Game of Thrones, it's very similar now that I'm thinking about it. Of you don't
Yeah,
know who's going to live or die, and who's betraying who, and just lots of fun twists and turns.
I could definitely see that. I personally will never be able to get into Attack on Titan, and I've accepted that. Um, because I know that the Titans are supposed to be like freaky, creepy, and scary, but they are literally of my nightmares. So,
Oh, and
uh,
they do not hold back on some of those gory death scenes. They really,
yeah,
it's really, and the people just begging for mercy, and you're just like, okay, okay.
yeah, I'll keep watching JoJo's.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what else. Uh, my oldest, he usually asks for help on Breath of the Wild, so through his game, I've now beaten all the shrines.
Okay.
Um, so I've probably basically beat the whole game. Then
Yeah.
I've done all the DLC stuff for him, and I've done well except for the Master Sword quests. I hate those.
I still haven't done any of the DLC. I'm waiting until we get closer to tiers. So
Yeah,
that way.
I
Uh,
can. We do like the Master Sword thing to get the sword all the way powered up or whatever.
mhm.
That is, I get to a point where I have to fight Wizrobes with just like a bow and arrow in it, and I can't do it. I'm not that good a shot, and it's too hard. Um, and that's fine. I'm like I said, I'm not the greatest video game player, but I just have fun. I just go to play, have fun.
Okay.
Um, the other thing was I have been missing two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle graphic novels that are out of print from the old Archie collection, and they usually go for like $100 on eBay. And I was like, I was like, I bet if I search hard enough, I can find these. Um, so I found a site that let me check a bunch of different comic book stores' inventories at once, and I found both of them. One was in Maryland, the other was at Comic Book World in Louisville, Kentucky, which
Oh,
I used
really?
to go to all the time. I was like, oh, yeah, I probably could have stumbled upon this when I went back to Kentucky, but so I've ordered both of those now. So hopefully they actually have them in stock because that's happened to me before where I've ordered stuff and they go, oh, we actually don't have this. Um, but that's really cool. I'm really excited now that I'll have a complete run of all that. So
Yeah. I haven't been to Comic Book World in a minute.
yeah, I wonder if Doug still works there. He was, of course, that was 20 years ago. So yeah, he probably doesn't.
Yeah. I, I
Um,
I've been to Comic Book World more recent than that, but I don't know.
he,
I haven't gone comic shopping in a while. It's
yeah,
expensive.
I'm slowly starting to visit the one around the corner from me, and I'm going to probably go up there and actually open up a pool box for the Gargoyles comic books coming out in December. Um, just because I believe if you love something, you got to support it, or it's not
Oh,
going to be around. So,
oh yeah.
um, but that is it for our weekend checkup. We are going to move on to the news. Uh, we're going to talk first about Cobra Kai. I don't know. Are you a Karate Kid fan, or I have no idea?
So I'm a very strange Karate Kid fan. I like the first one. I think the second one is the best
Uh,
of the
okay,
movies.
about to say, don't badmouth part two. We were about to.
Uh,
It was about to end the podcast.
oh no 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 no. The second one's the best. Like it's
Yes,
not even.
absolutely.
Um, Third one, I have fond memories of as a family, but not as a movie. Um, uh, I never saw the Hilary Swank one, and I like the Jaden Smith movie. And then I've seen the first season of Cobra Kai, and then just by word of mouth, I have kept up with Cobra Kai up till season four, just
Okay,
because my friends talk about it all the time.
so very similar. I like part three just because it's more Miyagi, but it's not a great film. Uh, Hillary Swank. I don't. I think I've seen parts of it, but I haven't seen all of it, and I've never seen the Jane Smith one. I've seen season one of Cobra Kai, but it's definitely on my list of shows to go back and finish. Um, but the reason I threw this up here is they announced a new Karate Kid movie yesterday, and the Netflix creators of Cobra Kai were like, "Yeah, we have nothing to do with this." So it sounds like maybe this is the final season. I think they had enough plot lines to do another season. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been watching it, um, but it sounds like it may be over. And the creators have already kind of started moving on to other things like the Ferris Bueller show that they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a shame if it ends. Like I hope it has a proper ending. Um, but like I said, I
Yeah,
have not seen it. So
that would be a bummer. Like I know that season 6 was supposed to be the last season anyway.
yeah,
Um and I know that it's all but been confirmed. But that's a huge bummer if like nobody knew about it. Like getting like silently canceled.
Yeah, and it is Netflix, so they usually do 2 seasons and they're out. And season 4 and season 5 were the seasons produced by Netflix. So we'll see. So
Yeah,
hate to start off a bummer like that, but if that's over, well, at least we got 5 seasons, which is pretty cool. But like I said, I hope there's no dangling plot threads that are, if they wrap up the major stories and then there's just a couple like, well, what about this? I'm fine with
yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, unintentional major dangling plot threads.
Yeah, like I'm sure when you're making a show like this, you leave little things where you can go of season 6, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. So I'm hoping that's how it is. But all
I
right,
had a friend tell me about what was going on with Mike Barnes because um, Mike Barnes is one of my favorite characters in all of Karate Kid, just because like he's definitely like on crack the whole time. Like whenever he's yelling, whenever Daniel's like on the mat, like and he's in agony, it's all in slow motion, and like Mike Barnes is yelling, I'm like, you trash, Lewis. I'm like, he sounds like a freaking Call of Duty kid. It's hilarious.
yeah, it's Street Fighter 3, Karate Kid 3. That's something special.
Yeah.
Speaking of Street Fighter, let's talk about something a little bit more exciting.
Yes.
Um, they did a was this Tokyo game
Tokyo
shows.
Game Show. Yep.
They showed off quite a bit of Street Fighter. I am not a big Street
Yeah.
Fighter fan. I was impressed.
Yeah.
They a lot of the characters, old characters, are coming back. They all looked great. Um,
New characters look really interesting, which is good because a lot of times whenever you have like new characters in a fighting game, they tend to like, for the most part, you have to warm up to them. But
mhm.
characters like Luke and, well, so Luke was the last character, last DLC character for Street Fighter Five. He was kind of like the last DLC character for Street Fighter Five to introduce him as the main character of Street Fighter Six. So we've kind of already gotten to know Luke a little bit. Um, but Jamie and Kimberly, who are here front and center with him, uh, with Luke, they look so fun. All the other characters look fun. The world tour looks great. Um, and to get on the more technical side, which is just what I'm more familiar with. If you guys don't know, me and Cameron, um, we play tournaments and we're kind of ridiculous at fighting games. So on the more technical side, just all of the new gameplay mechanics seem really interesting with like the drive system. Look, honestly, it looks like they've sort of introduced the Mortal Kombat run button, like in a way. It's not a run button, but like, you spend meter and then you get like a little bit of a dash, mixed with the KOF max meter. Um, I am speaking Egyptian right now, I know. But no, it definitely looks like a lot of fun. So that's Street Fighter 6 from my perspective as someone who, I'm an 09er. I've played all the Street Fighters, but I started competitive in 2009. From your perspective, um,
So it's a series I have not really followed that much since the old Street Fighter 2 versus Mortal Kombat 2 days. I do remember Street Fighter 5 was a huge disappointment. Um, at least from my perspective, like I said, I haven't been keeping up with it.
it was a
But this,
game that took 5 years to be a good competitive game.
yeah, I remember that there wasn't enough characters when it first came out, and they were slowly adding characters, and it was kind of a mess. But this looked great
Hmm.
from what I saw. Animation looked really great, just everything.
I think my favorite part is we were all really concerned about our boy Ken, um, because whenever the game was announced and the everything was leaked about, because unfortunately, Street Fighter Six was announced. I think it was at Capcom Cup, and then like a day later, the entire roster was leaked, which is a huge bummer. I always hate to see that for video game developers, but it's cool that they've gone ahead and we released a trailer with all the characters that were leaked, which is great. And one thing that we were all kind of disappointed about, from the perspective of Ken mains like myself, uh, is Ken kind of seemed like a bum. Like he got a divorce from his wife, lost everything, and now like he's just like living in a box.
I
That was
love it.
kind of like the vibe that we all got from the
Homeless Ken.
yeah, right, home. Yeah, we all got the homeless Ken vibe. And then they revealed at Tokyo Game Show, no, it's not that he's down in the dumps and he got a divorce from his wife. It's that the Mad Gear Gang framed him for a crime that he didn't commit, and so he had to distance himself from everything to protect his company, his family, and his friends. And so he's just kind of like, he's not homeless Ken. He's like the fugitive Ken, and it's so much cooler. And we're all really happy about that.
So you said Mad Gear Gang. That sounds familiar. Is that Final Fight or some other
That is,
game?
yes, yes.
Okay, that's
S-
cool.
so Street Fighter takes place in the same universe as Final Fight. That's why you got Guy and Cody as playable characters in like Alpha and Street Fighter 4 and 5. Um, one thing that I am really hoping for is because this is a similar thing that happened to Cody in the Final Fight series. I think it was Final Fight. It may have been Final Fight 3. It may have been Street Fighter Alpha 3. I can't remember. But Cody was also framed by the Mad Gear Gang, and he was actually in prison. And so, uh, for the longest time, his combat outfit was actually just a prison uniform, and like he had like handcuffs on, and so he fought with handcuffs on, which is really cool. I think it'd be really awesome if Ken were to go to Cody for help, because now Cody is the mayor of Metro City, and he's been through this before. Um, of course, I mean that's getting into. I'm talking about the story of a fighting game, which is already going way too deep. um,
That is my favorite part of any fighting game is the
oh yeah,
story.
oh
So I'm
yeah,
I'm there for it.
oh yeah. I mean, like Mortal Kombat, like has the deepest, has the deepest story. Actually, that's not true because, and we can go ahead and segue into this. Uh, Do you know what game has the Guinness Book of World Record for longest singular ongoing storyline in a video game series?
I'm going to guess Fire Emblem, but I don't know.
Tekken.
Tekken. Oh, that's right.
Yep.
You said you want to talk about Tekken. Yeah.
Yep. So from Tekken 1 all the way to Tekken 7 has been this one continuous story. Harada actually has the award in his office. It's a lot of fun. And so they revealed a little bit of Tekken 8 this week, which um, unfortunately we're a little bit farther along with Tekken 6 than we are with Tekken 8. But Tekken 8 was kind of a disappointment because it was a reveal trailer, and it was hard to tell whether or not it was cinematics or like actual gameplay. But I need to see more of it because I'm watching it and I'm like I cannot tell. So the difference between Street Fighter 6 and Street Fighter 5 is like Street Fighter 5 had the V triggers and the V skills and all that. And so there was that system, and now Street Fighter 6 has the drive system. It has some sort of gimmick going for it. I look at the Street Fighter 8 the Tekken 8 trailer, and I can't tell what is different from Tekken 7. Which is always a disappointment. The thing that I like about fighting games, rather than everything else, is um, each series, or like each iteration, usually has like some sort of gimmick going for it. Like Street Fighter 4 had focus attacks and ultras. Street Fighter 3 had the parry system, which I'm sure we've all seen the Daigo parry video, which is one of the most legendary esports moments. Um, but yeah, going from Tekken 7 to Tekken 8, I'm looking at this trailer and I'm like, I don't see a difference. So we'll have to wait on that. But for right now, I'm all in on Street Fighter 6. I'm super excited for it.
That's cool. Um, yeah, I might have to check this one out. Of course, I won't check it out as soon as it launches. Probably like when it drops down to $20 or whatever, then I might
Yeah.
check it out. So
And
very
with fighting
cool.
games, that'll happen because they're by the time like season two of the like if there's like season two characters, by the time that ends, it'll be about $20. Typically, how it goes.
Yep, yep, yep. And I don't have that much time to play games anyways because I'm
Yeah.
watching Attack on Titan. So, um, all right. So we finally got our Nintendo Direct. We all thought we were getting one in June, although they had announced most of the games of the year already that were coming out. So there wasn't that much more to announce. So we finally got a Direct in September, and some people were very disappointed with this Direct. I was fine with it because,
Oh yeah.
as I've said before, I don't have a whole lot of time to play. So if you announce 2 or 3 games I'm interested in, I'm set. That's my year of gaming right there. So, um, let me pull up your screen. Okay. So are we just gonna tackle these in order, or that they were presented?
Yeah. I figured in order because I honestly I think that was a bottle. I think uh, the way they went through this was actually very well structured anyway. Because you don't want to start off with like your best stuff, but you also don't want to start off with like maybe your least interesting stuff.
Hmm.
So they opened up with the new Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, my youngest son has really gotten into Fire Emblem, so he was super excited.
Oh, God bless him! I love it.
Yeah, he's even
So
got he's been playing through, what is it, the one that's not like a Fire Emblem game, the other one that's like a Warriors game.
oh yeah, Warriors, Three Hopes.
Yeah, he's been playing through that, so he's like super obsessed with it.
You know what? I know him very well. He seems like the type of guy who could like look at a Fire Emblem map and like flawless it. Like he'll work out.
uh
He'll work to that.
I don't know. He's really big into history and he loves maps and stuff. So, moving around troops and stuff, that's right up his alley. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. I know people have been making the Colgate joke, which is very funny. Um, but I like the design of the main character. Um, barring the fact that they look like toothpaste. Um,
Oh, see, I'd heard they look like the Switch controllers, the red and blue controllers. And
that makes sense as well.
yeah, yeah,
I didn't think of that because the Switch that we have is the Odyssey one that comes with two reds.
yeah.
Um, but one thing that I was disappointed about at first, because I had to go through and watch this direct again because I was, of course, at work. Um, whenever the direct was going on. However, I just had my phone off to the side while I was answering phones, and so like I every so often I could
Yeah.
I was working on I had my screen and then right below it I had the direct, and so whenever they said the name was Fire Emblem Engage, I'm like, oh, that's a bad name. That sounds like a spin-off. But then after looking into like what the gimmick was and what the draw of it is, I'm like, oh, I totally get it. Because this game is very much your from your perspective, this is kind of like Turtles Forever. Very much the Power Rangers Super Mega Force. We're bringing back all the old protagonists in a sense of you have these emblem rings that you put on, and then you can kind of, I don't know if it's you can transform or you have like an astral like projection of the old characters, but you have a ring that you put on and you can activate it, and then Marth shows up. Um, And this one's going to be a lot of times. Fire Emblem has been like, in uh, has been like one cohesive universe, but this one takes place in an alternate universe. So it's almost like we're bringing over, Marth and Ike and Byleth from another universe. And so that's cool. And so the reason it's called Engage is because you're putting on these rings and you're putting them on the ring finger. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Engage, like a marriage. uh, and so now I'm cool with the name, and I'm super excited for. um I'm super excited for the game. Um, So, and I'm glad to hear that Matthew's into it. I didn't know that we'll have something to talk about at Christmas.
Oh yeah, he
um,
has really gotten into Fire Emblem. I'm trying to get him into Shining Force, but he's not really. He tried to play the first one. He was kind
yeah,
of like, yeah, because you're going back to the Sega Genesis, and
yeah.
Fire Emblem's had a lot of improvements with that whole system since then. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
hard to go back.
You,
Um,
you, you know what I have that I think he'd really enjoy, because I actually have the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light special edition from the Switch that had like all the cool stuff, and it came with the digital version of the first game.
mhm.
Cameron got that for me for Christmas one year.
So
Uh,
there's more Fire Emblem games on the Switch.
so on the Switch, you have Fire Emblem Warriors, you have Fire Emblem Three Hopes.
Uh huh.
The traditional Fire Emblem game that's on the Switch is Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is
Yeah, he's got
I'm
that one.
yep. And then I don't know if it's still on the Switch, because you know how Nintendo is treating this like the Disney Vault, where
Right.
So I don't know if Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light is still on the Switch store,
Okay.
but I have it.
Okay.
Um,
I'll look into that. Cool.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, is that the old NES game?
Oh yeah, it is the very first one.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think that was like a limited time thing when they
Yeah.
announced that last year.
Honestly, though, if he doesn't like Shining Force, I doubt he'd like that one too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even I have trouble getting through it. I have the special edition stuff because I'm a fan and it's a lot of cool memorabilia, but the game is a little rough. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, super excited for Fire Emblem. Second major thing they announced was so um, Splatoon 3 has come out, and they announced their first Splatfest, um, which is super exciting. How familiar are you with Splatoon?
I've played them. I'll play a little bit through the story modes when I play through the games, and then I'll play a little bit competition, and that's it. But I've definitely played them one and two. We're talking about getting three. We don't know yet.
Mhm.
Uh,
Cameron said that. Here's the thing: Cameron is way better about managing his money than I am, so he has way more money than I do.
mhm.
Um, and so sometimes I'll just rely on him to play like uh, uh, Nintendo games, because he'll want to get them.
Mhm.
He said once he 100% Kirby and Forgotten Lands, then he'll get Splatoon 3. So
Okay.
uh,
So the Splatfest question was, if you're on a deserted island, what was it, gear, grub, or fun, or something?
yeah.
So what would you choose?
Oh man, I would definitely choose Grub. Like that's an easy one for me.
So I think there's only one correct answer for this, and it's gear. Because of gear, you can get more food. If you just choose grub, you're going to run out of food,
True,
or
true.
it's going to go bad, or several things. And
And you
fun
can have
is stupid.
and you can also have fun with gear.
Yeah,
Um,
you have to have gear to survive.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, the main reason I wanted to bring up the Splatfest and Splatoon 3, because first of all, um, I remember the Splatfest from Splatoon 2. Splatfests are a really fun idea. Um, because I can't remember if they're weekly or monthly or like what the time frame is, but it keeps people going
Hmm.
on your game uh, throughout the entirety of Splatoon 2's life cycle. Um, Cameron and I played it at least a couple times every Splatfest, um,
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun. I think my favorite thing about Splatoon, though, just in general, is you have these long-lasting games like Pokemon, Kirby, Zelda, Mario. Splatoon just comes out on the Wii U and like fits right in. You know, instant classic.
The thing I find interesting about Splatoon is, as far as I know, Miyamoto has nothing to do with it, and it's refreshing that there's a new generation of developers at Nintendo that are making new franchises that catch on.
Hmm.
And um, Nintendo didn't really have a first-person shooter type game, uh, and so this kind of itches that scratch. But it's also, I don't know if you'd even call it a first-person shooter, but you get what I'm talking about, a shooter
Third
type
person,
game.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but they did it in a way that's non-violent, which is a very Nintendo thing to do,
Oh yeah.
and it works,
Mhm.
So
Cameron was telling me that uh, Splatoon 3, not Splatoon 3, but Splatoon in general, was one of the first shooters in Japan that really caught on
mhm.
because apparently a lot of uh, people in Japan are very much like my father, where um, shooters make them sick whenever they play them.
Yeah,
And so that's why they came out with like the gyro motion controls, which I think are super cool.
yeah.
So like it's one of the only shooters um, that Japan can play consistently, and so it only makes sense that Nintendo would be the one to come out with it. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, uh, I'm I'm excited for Splatoon 3. I'm glad that Splatoon at this point is I'd call it a AAA title at this point.
Well, for them to consistently release new sequels to it every 4 or 5 years is, that's saying something, because there's a lot of Nintendo franchises that do not get sequels.
Yes, yes.
A lot of
Um,
a lot of beloved titles that don't get sequels. So,
oh man, that might be a show of like, you know, if we were to bring back F-Zero or Star Fox, like how would we do it?
oh, I've
Um,
I've got ideas for both of those franchises.
yeah, so my idea for Star Fox is not what they did last time. Anything but Star Fox Zero.
Well, my idea for Star Fox is you keep it kind of a small solar system, like 10 planets, but you can fly to those planets. You can land at starports, and you can, there's like an RPG element where you go around talking and finding clues and doing stuff. But you also, then when you're flying between the planets, that's when you get the flying levels.
Yeah. I was about to
You
say
know,
that sound like Fax temperatures. Star Fox Adventures.
yeah, I got it. So
I love JonTron.
I do too.
Fax temperatures.
Yeah. There was one he did recently about, I don't remember what the topic was. It was something about these like cults, these like healing things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he did his own, where there was like a picture of was it a hamster way up on the wall?
Yes.
And it was so funny. Hilarious. If you
Yeah.
don't watch JonTron, you have no clue what we're talking about, but it was
Oh
very
man.
funny.
I mean, like JonTron pretty much like he had to have single-handedly like skyrocketed stock for flex tape, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's like when Reddit saved the theater chains or whatever, or
Yeah.
GameStop. That's what he did for flex tape. Uh,
I actually have like a can of Flex Seal and a roll of Flex Tape. I haven't opened them. I just have them.
yeah, makes sense. Um,
uh, but yeah. Anyway, next game, big announcement: Octopath Traveler 2. Um, you ever play Octopath Traveler?
I have not. I know a lot of people love the first one, but I have not.
Yeah.
An RPG right now in my life just seems like daunting.
Understood, understood. But here's the cool thing about Octopath Traveler. Now, this is not going to be the case with two, which is why I personally am a little disappointed, but most people are really excited for it. So for me, the draw of Octopath Traveler 2 is because the reason it was called Octopath Traveler is because you have eight different characters, eight different stories going on. And
Mm,
so essentially, Octopath Traveler to me was like a book, like an anthology, a collection of short stories. Um, and so if you only had the time for a 5 to 10 hour JRPG, you had one of those in Octopath Traveler, which I always thought was really cool. Octopath Traveler 2, from what they're saying, it's going to be a lot more interconnected. Like each story is going to be connected in some way. So I'm kind of hoping it's in like the Tarantino or the Stephen King way, where like references, but it's not like you know the story is overbearing on each other. Because I really think the draw of Octopath Traveler was you don't see 5 to 10 hour JRPGs. Um, which I personally love.
yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting. You know what I just thought about? If Matthew likes Fire Emblem, the people who made Octopath, they actually have a triangle strategy,
Okay.
um, which is so Octopath Traveler is very much a throwback to Final Fantasy 4 or 5 and 6 and whatnot.
Mm,
Triangle strategy is a throwback to Final Fantasy Tactics. Uh, so
sweet.
yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Next game up on the list was Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Hey, you remember whenever Rabbids were fun?
I like the rabbits. I think that here's the thing with the rabbits is they got ripped off. Was it DreamWorks saw the rabbits? So, oh, we could do that. We'll just change them in. But
Mhm. Hello?
are you still there?
Yeah, yeah. I think that they were getting me because I was making fun of the Rabbids. I think the
Yeah.
Rabbids were coming after me.
No, my internet. I could see the little bar started going down. I was like, oh no.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha, gotcha. I didn't know if it was on my end or yours.
Yeah. But I was just saying that the rabbits they ripped them off with the minions, and I
Yeah.
kind of like the I like the rabbits. Up to a point. Here or there they're fine. I still think they would have been a funny like assist trophy in Smash Brothers. Just
Oh, that
popping
would
up
have
and
been
screaming.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of. I still think Rayman Raving Rabbids is a great game. I remember first time we played it. It was like a family get together, and we all went over to your all's house,
Yeah.
and you had it,
Yeah.
and we were hooked because of the plungers.
Oh yeah. It's
we
it's a
had to,
silly game.
we
Yeah.
had to shoot them. It was great. Um, but yeah, I genuinely have no. I think that this is like a like a StarCraft style tactical
It's
strategy.
an XCOM type game. I've got the first one. I've only played it a little bit though because it is difficult.
Really,
It is very hard.
that's funny.
Um, no, but I've seen some playthroughs of like the proper way to play it, but it has quite a learning curve of which characters to power up and the best way to use them. It's a lot of it's almost like Fire Emblem, but not quite. Like you have so many steps your character can take, so you got to figure out. Oh, I'm gonna take 3 steps out into open, shoot, and then have enough steps to get back behind cover before my move is over. So you're having to constantly calculate everything, or make sure I kill the enemy while I'm out in the open so they can't attack me back. So it's a
Okay.
lot of that type of strategy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Very complicated for a Mario Rabbids game.
exactly. My niece wanted to play it, and I was just like, I don't think she's going to be able to play it. I can't play it. But if you're a strategy gamer, the first one's only like $10 right now. It's not a bad price. And I heard the Donkey Kong DLC is wonderful. But I haven't played it. So
um, N64 online, we have some new games. I really wish that they would lower the price so that way I could care. Um,
well, we got it because the kids are really into Animal Crossing. Um, and they wanted the DLC, and I was just like, well, I'll just pay for the online and get the DLC for free.
sure.
Um, so I'm excited about the Mario Party games being on there. Mario Party
Mhm.
1, 2, and 3.
I'm super stoked about Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the way I played Pokemon Stadium, where you couldn't use your Pokemon for your Game Boy game, but it's kind
Yeah,
of weird not having Pokemon that you can, upload into it.
yeah.
Maybe that'd be some type of support they add in the future with the newer game, but I don't know.
At this point, we're not sure about from the perspective of Pokemon because they're closing down the 3DS eShop, and the 3DS is how you can get stuff from like the old games to the Switch.
Yeah.
So we're thinking that people are going to be losing a lot of their Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, probably what's going to happen is they'll introduce something like Pokemon Home or Pokemon Bank that's like, oh, for $25 you can rescue all those Pokemon and move them
Yeah,
over or something.
twenty
They'll
five dollars a month.
yeah, they'll do something screwy like that. No,
um,
Nintendo. Um,
but of course, we all know what the big announcement was for N64.
yeah, 1080 snowboarding.
Oh yes, absolutely. 1080 snowboard and Excite Bike 64.
Hey, do not knock Excite Bike 64. That is fun.
I'm
The soccer mode is great.
So the closest I've ever done to playing an Excite Bike game, I played Excite Bots on the
Yeah.
on the Wii. But no, the Excite Bike track on Mario Kart 8, that's the closest I've been to Excite Bike. uh,
That game's actually kind of challenging. It's fun, but yeah.
oh yeah,
Uh,
Golden.
Golden Eye, man, I'm so excited for this.
Gosh, it's and you know what's sick about this is they're giving Nintendo like preferential treatment
Uh huh.
because this is coming out for Nintendo Switch Online as well as Xbox Game Pass. But Xbox Game Pass isn't getting online multiplayer.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. It's the weirdest because Rare is owned by Microsoft, so you feel like they would be the ones to get preferential treatment.
I
Uh,
wonder if Nintendo owns a chunk of this game,
yes, that's what I'm
and
thinking.
so they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll let you put this on Rare Archives, but you have to put something in this that only Nintendo gets."
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh, I'm actually curious because if they are going to put online multiplayer, I'm actually genuinely curious if there's going to be any other upscaling because the
do,
frame rate is so bad.
do you think will still have 4-player split screen mode?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay. Um, I'm really hoping though that this is opening the door for Perfect Dark.
Oh yes.
I doubt we'll ever get Conker's Bad Fur Day on Nintendo Online just because of the content, or
Yes.
they would have to put it through some type of age restriction thing. But Perfect Dark is so much fun.
I I I think that Perfect Dark is better than this game.
Oh, absolutely. There's no
Yeah.
question.
You know what? Here's the big question. Where are you on the because obviously the sequel to GoldenEye is Perfect Dark, but the sequel to Perfect Dark is Time Splitters.
Hmm.
Time Splitters is better than Perfect Dark, right?
Yeah,
It's a tough question.
it is. I think Time Splitters has monkeys, so that helps that. I'm trying to remember what type of guns Time Splitters had because I remember Perfect Dark. You got the laptop gun. You've got
Oh
the
yeah.
Far Side. There's a lot of
Oh
really fun stuff. I remember having a lot of fun with the bots in Perfect Dark.
yeah. So Perfect Dark definitely has the best weapon collection because not only does Perfect Dark have Perfect Dark weapons, it also has GoldenEye weapons,
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome. But no, this was a huge this was a huge reveal. I actually I'm on the phones and I'm having to hold back the fact that I'm freaking out. I'm
yeah.
text my best friend is like the biggest Bond fan that you'll ever meet. And we're always talking about trying to get gold. And I'm like, dude, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening.
Yeah, this was very exciting because the company that owns the rights to James Bond have been very they don't like going back to old movies. They only want to do like the latest movie.
Which is
Uh
funny because the most recent movie was just a riff on Her Majesty's Secret Service, but whatever.
yeah. So the fact that we're getting this is a huge deal. I'm actually amazed that this is actually happening.
I know, like
Um,
it's always been a joke. Like, no way it's actually happening. Like the closest thing was GoldenEye Reloaded.
yeah. So this was probably for me the biggest announcement of the Nintendo Direct was
Right,
this.
right. Yeah. As far as like, because I mean, we expected Fire Emblem, we expected Zelda. Um, this just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'd heard rumblings, but yeah, I hear rumblings about stuff all the time, and I'm like, no, it's never going to happen.
Right,
And
right.
so it
And
finally
we've been
happened.
hearing rumblings about this since the Xbox 360.
Right when they announced that rare collection, everybody kept on, "Where's Goldeneye? Where's Goldeneye?" You know, so they were working on it, and there was rumors that it was almost done, but got canceled by the rights holders, and
Yep.
so this is actually a big deal.
Oh yeah. Super hype. Um, Fitness of the North Star. Uh,
I laughed so hard when this was
oh my gosh,
announced.
it's so funny. Like I mean I almost don't like I get it and I follow the logic on it, but I'm like, who thinks of this stuff? I love it. It's great.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping that this is like M rated and like you're punching people and they're like exploding. You know, like you could if you punch so fast and they
Yeah,
they actually explode.
yeah. And
Would be
it's
really
like
fun.
Umewa Shinderu.
Yeah, when you do the special attack, it goes Nani.
Nani? Just something. I mean, like I don't have a whole lot to say about this. I just wanted to mention it because why not? It's. I
It's
think
like typing of the dead. It's such a stupid idea. You're like, yep.
that's what it is. It's totally typing of the dead. Oh man, like I love it. It's great. We need more. We need to go back to like that typing of the dead style.
I just have
Like
fun. Video games should
yeah,
be fun.
teach me something while I'm playing video games, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Make me exercise. Teach me how to type. Uh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one like what like Cooking Mama, but I actually have to cook. Just something. Um,
Make
so go ahead.
make a cannibal game that's like a cooking mama where you're now that you've captured your missionaries. Oh, it's got
uh,
dark. Okay.
yeah. So this next one, I'm kind of gonna leave it to you because I feel like you're the one more excited for this than me.
Oh man, Pikmin 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Like I could play Pikmin 2 all day. Um I'm not a fan of Pikmin 3, but I'm hoping that well we'll see. I'm curious how they do the controls of Pikmin 4, but this game was actually mentioned years ago. I mean, I was like, "Oh yeah, Pikmin 4 is almost done." And then we heard nothing.
Hmm.
And so when he started talking about Pikmin Bloom, everybody's like, "What's he doing?"
Right, right.
And it was like you better mention Pikmin 4 after this, or this will this will be like the most hated Nintendo Direct ever.
It's like a Diablo Immortal.
Right, because you didn't know if those they're like, is he about to announce new DLC for Pikmin Bloom or a sequel or what's going on? Because as soon as he came out on screen, I was like, oh, are we getting the Mario movie trailer? What and he starts talking about that, then he switches to Universal Studios, like, oh, are we getting Universal Studios trailer? And then he switches to Pikmin Bloom, and you're like, where's this going?
Hmm.
um, but we really didn't get much other than just a quick shot of the ladybug creatures, the bulb orbs, and just saying that you can play from the Pikmin's perspective or something, which didn't quite make sense. Like I need to see it in motion to figure out what he's talking about. Um, but yeah, Pikmin. I felt like Pikmin 3 they automated too much stuff to where I didn't have control of the Pikmin anymore. Like I really enjoyed in Pikmin 2 where you could use the C sticks to I could crash the Pikmin into them with the C stick. Like I had control of my army, and they took that away in Pikmin 3.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I'm happy for this, but I want to see better controls and I want to see them innovate. I don't just want another. Oh, we got to get supplies again from these. Watch out for the bugs, Um, and me and my kids have had so many ideas for what the next Pikmin game could be. Like I want it to be where your ship is really badly damaged, and so you have to survive at night now. Like you cannot fly off from the planet, and so like your captains go to sleep, but like the rocket, like a little probe will fly up, and now you're playing as the probe, and you have night Pikmin you have to use to defend your base at night. Something like that. Or I even thought it would be cool if there was a rival group that is enslaving Pikmin with like cyborg implants. And so now you're fighting against another captain that has his own army, and there's so many things you could do with Pikmin. So I'm hoping they don't just get lazy and just go, oh, well, here we are, we're stranded again, and we gotta get the treasures. So
Yeah, I've actually, I don't think I've ever played a Pikmin game, honestly.
Pikmin 2, so much fun.
Yeah,
It's fun because the Pikmin are so cute, and then but they kind of have a mind of their own. Like you can tell them all to go march forward, but that one Pikmin will just get distracted and start kicking a flower, and then he gets ate. And you're like, you stupid Pikmin, why weren't you
that's funny.
listening?
That's funny. Yeah, my exposure to Pikmin is through Smash.
Yeah.
And like you can only have 3 Pikmin out at one time. So I've seen where you have like 20 Pikmin or like an
Oh no,
entire
you
Pikmin.
have 100 Pikmin, and you go
Oh,
marching in, and a boss just falls from the ceiling and kills 20 of them instantly, and you're in panic mode. You're like, oh my gosh, I lost half my Pikmin. You're just
that's
running everywhere.
funny.
It's a lot of fun. Like there's a I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a little frog like on a steamroller, and he'll just roll over all your Pikmin. You're just like, oh no. Or like giant spiders will come down and just stomp on your Pikmin, and the little ghosts all go floating up. It's so much fun. And what's fun is like the a lot of the bugs will be asleep, and you can kind of sneak past them. But every once in a while, you'll just have a Pikmin just go around there and just kick the bug in the face just for the heck of it. It's just eating everybody. You're like, what are you doing? Uh, just a lot of fun. I love
Yeah. Um, we got a release window for Mario Kart Booster Pack 3, which I don't own the Mario Kart 8 booster packs, but I have played some at my friend's house. A lot of fun because it's Mario Kart. They're not as well made uh,
That's
as
what I've
like,
heard.
but it's Mario Kart. Um, it definitely seems like this booster pack they're catering to the fact that they're releasing it around Christmas, and so it's a lot of like snowy levels.
Yeah. So I have Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I don't have it on the Switch. Um, but I have the online thing, so I'm like, I might as well just buy Mario Kart 8 for the Switch because I'm
Yeah,
already, you know, getting the other levels for free. So
I mean, if I can be completely honest, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, basically a different game. Uh, because they have tweaked a lot of the carts. They've tweaked a lot of the characters. There are at least double the characters,
mhm.
and the fact that you can have two items, like you have one item in reserve, yeah, it's like a different game.
Yeah,
So it's a lot of fun. It's something that I play quite often.
yeah, that might be
But
a title again for Christmas. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
uh, Harvestella looks dope. Um, I've been super excited for Harvestella ever since I think was it announced at the last direct or the direct before that. Um, I don't know, but I've never really been into farming simulators. But something about Harvestella just kind of like clicks with me, and I think they've got the demo out now. I just haven't been able to play it. Um, but yeah, whatever Harvestella is, I'm super excited for it.
so the one complaint that I've seen about this direct, and I kind of agree with, is they showed way too many farming games during this direct. It was like every other game was a farming game,
Sure.
which I thought maybe they should have pulled some of the games out of the sizzle reel and put some of the farming games in the sizzle reel. There are things they could have done for that. Um, and I'm not sure how Nintendo determines which games get time and which ones just get a mention of the sizzle reel. But yeah, I I think farming games or Animal Crossing type games can be fun. Um, so it'll be interesting to see. Um, like I don't have any interest in this one, but I hope it's fun.
Yeah. I
So
mean, it's weird because I've actually never played an Animal Crossing game. Uh,
what?
I
What?
know.
My Animal Crossing for the latest game, like I make up my own storylines and stuff in that, and so my character is Paul Piper, who is a plumber on the island, but he's secretly a hitman that has retired to the island. So like when you go into my basement of my house, it's like a torture chamber.
So
And there's
your character's farmer Thanos.
pretty much, and I turned the first floor like into a nightclub. And there's like a skeleton band playing in the nightclub, and we just have a lot of fun. And then we've got a group of communist flamingos living on the island. We put all these, like the little gaudy flamingos you see in people's front yards. We have a whole bunch of those, and there's like a picture of Stalin playing it or sitting in front of them, and like communist music playing when you get to that part of the island. And so yeah, me and my kids, we have a blast. We have Duckburg where all the duck animals live. We've like segregated them to their own little area on the map, and it's just crazy what we do on the Animal Crossing. We have so much fun on there. Yet Animal Crossing is a very can be very repetitive, but if you have an imagination and you just want to have fun, it can be really funny.
Yeah.
And I had one of the animals. We got this huge conversation. Me and Freckles the duck. We got this huge conversation. She starts talking to me about comic books, and I was like, "What?" We had like this huge conversation about comic books, and I was like, "Okay, you're my best friend now." So just really funny. Um, and there's a I don't know why we're talking about Animal Crossing, but there's a the scorpions and the tarantulas are really hard to catch, and you can make an island if you go visit the island, you can try to catch them, and every once in a while you'll get Scorpion Island, and it's chaos. Like they are just charging at you constantly, and it is so much fun. 'Cause if you get stung, you get knocked out, and so you have to like dig like holes and stuff to prevent them from getting to you, and jump over the holes and catch them, and it's so much fun.
Well, the reason we're talking about Animal Crossing is because I have never gotten into the farming simulators.
Yeah.
Um, but I think if you put it in an anime world and give me limit breaks and give me
Well,
like
and I'm kind of playing one right now of Cult of the Lamb, where you are
Yeah.
building a farm for your cult and stuff, and you can raise crops and stuff. But I kind of set things up, and then the cultists they are managing the farm. I'm not
That's
actually doing it.
well, you know what? That's what it is. There's that line from The Office where it's like I've been a part of many cults, both as a leader and a follower.
Yeah,
You have more fun as a follower, but you make more money as a leader.
yeah, a lot of responsibility as a leader, keeping everybody happy. So
um, Bayonetta 3 uh, is something coming up. Um, I love Bayonetta. Well, let me rephrase that. I love Devil May Cry, um, and by extension Bayonetta. So lot of fun. Very excited. Um, it's there's sometimes I'll be honest, I get uncomfortable playing Bayonetta though because like I recognize that her clothes are just her hair, and like
okay,
there's something about that that's like
so she's
just
like a witch, like for like the Blair Witch described her as her hair is covering her whole body and all that. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, but yeah, so we've got more information. Been waiting on this one for quite some time. In fact, we weren't even sure if it was actually coming out, uh, but it is, and we are all super excited for it as character action game fans. Um, so honestly, not a whole lot to say, just because I mean they show Bayonetta literally every direct just to assure us that it's still coming out.
Right.
um, no, the more interesting thing was we actually got. I didn't think that we'd get like a a release date announcement for Crisis Core Reunion at a Nintendo Direct, but it's coming out December 13th.
So
So
is that like a prequel to Final Fantasy VII? Is that what that is? Or
okay, so here we go. It's super complicated time. Let's do this. So
okay.
Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII was a game that came out on the PSP and was a
Hmm.
prequel to Final Fantasy VII, which followed Cloud's friend Zack.
Okay.
Um, Now with Final Fantasy VII Remake, with all the stuff that have to do with the plot ghosts and time travel, what's it, and we have no idea what's going on with the multiverse. For some reason, Zack is alive in another universe. Um,
As you do.
and yeah, exactly. And so they are coming out with Final Fantasy Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which we're not sure if it's a remaster of Crisis Core or if it's going to do another 180 and then it turns out to be like another Final Fantasy VII remake situation where it's actually a sequel. We're not sure. So, but as far as the combat goes, I follow the Easy Allies crew and I follow Maximilian very closely. And they all got to play it at Tokyo Game. Well, not at Tokyo Game Show. The TGS crew, the Square Enix crew, actually sent them demo codes, so they were able to play it. And they're talking about how like the combat is like 10 times better, which is good because I've played Crisis Core recently, and it's a good game, but the combat is not good. um, because it's a PSP game and it came out during the height of Kingdom Hearts. So and Kingdom Hearts combat is not great either. Um, so it's nice that they're kind of updating stuff. I mean, honestly, the UI looks just like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. So super exciting, and it's just like I said, it's just super weird that we got a release date at a Nintendo Direct, um, because well, the rest of the remake trilogy is going to be PlayStation only until they release it like on Steam and stuff. But Crisis Core is going to be on everything, and we're still not entirely sure how it's going to look on the Switch compared to everything else.
Yeah.
Um,
That's always a worry.
yeah. Uh,
I love Nintendo, but they are always a little bit underpowered from their competition. So,
Which is weird. It's been like that probably since the Wii. Before that, they were kind of ahead of the curve.
uh, I mean, GameCube was powerful, but it was also had its own weird limitations. you know, it's like
Hmm.
in some areas they were more powerful, in others they weren't. And that was the same thing with the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. There were some things Super Nintendo did better, some things the Genesis did better, and it's weird. And we'll kind of switch topics for just a second. There's been a lot of speculation. Oh, is there going to announce a Switch 2, the Switch 2? And I think it's going to be a while before we get a Switch 2, just because of all the chip shortages and stuff. I just don't think Nintendo's going to pull the trigger on that for a while.
Yeah, I kind of
That's
don't.
just me.
I don't want the Switch 2 either. I like I don't like it whenever like they release like completely upgraded versions of their systems. Like you can come out with like your 3DS XL and all that. Um, but new 3DS was rough because there were some games that you literally could not play unless you had new 3DS.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's the pattern Nintendo does. They make a new system like the NES, and then they improve it Super Nintendo. Then they do something different in 64. Then they improve it GameCube. Wii was new. We used the improvement, so we're on the new one right now, Switch. So the next one should be like Super Switch or whatever. Um, we'll see. I'm very happy with the Switch. I think it's a great system.
Oh yeah,
I and I'm not ready for them to switch, no pun intended, to something else.
yeah.
So,
It was actually as I was playing through Metroid Dread for the first time, which is one of my favorite games of all time at this point. Um, I'm playing through Metroid Dread, and I look at Cameron. I'm like, I get it now. The Nintendo Switch is the new GameCube. Like that's really the vibe I get because like Metroid Dread feels like a GameCube game, and in the best way possible.
yeah, the Switch is. I think the Switch is brilliant as a
Yes,
system.
absolutely.
So, uh, and we can discuss that another day. It's all about what was his name, Iwata, and his legacy, and there's a
Hmm.
whole lot more to that. Now, if I start talking about Iwata, I'll get sad because his untimely death was so sad.
Oh man, yeah,
Um, all right, so let's get back on track
yeah,
before I get all emotional
yeah.
and everything.
Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
Yeah, I was not expecting a Kirby announcement because it was wrapping up, and the rumors were, oh, we'll get a Metroid Prime remake or a re-release or something remastered, and then instead we got Kirby, and it was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. I'm not a huge Kirby fan, but I appreciate the series and the
yeah.
legacy it has and all that.
I am not a Kirby fan as well. In fact, the person who is probably the most qualified to talk about this is definitely Cameron.
Hmm.
Uh, he loves Kirby. To give y'all some perspective, my favorite Kirby games include the most recent one, Kirby Air Ride, um, Kirby's Epic Yarn, and Kirby's Canvas Curse on the Nintendo DS.
I
Um,
I feel like Kirby's Epic Yarn might be the only Kirby game I've ever really played.
I love Epic Yarn. So just to give y'all some perspective, but from what Cameron was telling me, he's super excited about this. He was not expecting this at all, and he's like, this is a day one purchase because apparently Kirby's Return to Dreamland is like the best, I guess. I'm not
I
too
have no
familiar with,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but I guess this is like if we were to get like this might be the equivalent to like us getting the Wind Waker HD. I
hmm
suppose. But that's good for Kirby fans. I like I said I enjoyed the most recent one, the Forgotten Lands. I've been playing that one a lot lately, but uh, strangely enough, it's all Canvas Curse for me. um, but yeah, And then they decided to end off the show with a very important announcement: the
Hmm.
long-awaited Death of the Wild. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I wanted the title to be Death of the Wild so bad, but I understand that I'm sure the Japanese title for Breath of the Wild, the wordplay probably doesn't work out like it does in
Yeah,
in English,
right.
so it wasn't making sense. Um, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm hoping that that is referring to like tragedy and not to collecting tears like in what was it, Twilight Princess or whatever.
So I actually think, okay, here we go. It's been a crazy week. All right.
Hmm.
I have just gone on a deep dive. I feel like that I have actually entered the sacred realm itself, you know.
Hmm.
Um so Tears of the Kingdom is obviously going to be a double, triple, whatever entendre. Um I
Hmm.
I do think that there will be tiers to collect, a la Twilight Princess. In fact, there's actually a lot of evidence to show that this game will be very much connected to both Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, um, in which both games you collect tiers at some point.
Hmm.
Um,
The
however,
just to interrupt real quick. The Skyward Sword stuff gives me pause because I'm not a fan of Skyward Sword, but I'm hoping that it plays better than that one did.
yeah.
So,
Oh, I mean,
so go on.
it's going to, because like, I mean, this was originally going to be a DLC, so the gameplay from Breath of the Wild
Hmm.
um, isn't changing that much.
Yeah,
Um, I
I'm
definitely think
assuming. Go ahead.
I think tiers are going to definitely have something to do with tragedy. I think some of the teardrops are going to be represented um, in the so in the most recent trailer. You know, we've gotten a lot of information on this new time reverse mechanic, which looks super cool. Um, where like you can send stuff backwards to its original spot, and so Link actually rides something up to the sky world using this mechanic, because I guess fallen debris from the sky world has fallen, and I think in theory those could be considered tiers of the kingdom as well. The fallen debris that you ride up.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
but yes, what were you saying?
I assume that the ground level is going to be basically the same map as Breath of the Wild. Maybe there'll be craters where some things have floated upward, but for the most part, it's going to be the same map. I would assume.
Yes, yes. It's going to be the same map as far as we can tell. A lot of people who have dissected these trailers have noticed, like, you know, different. The locations are the same, but the things in the locations are different. Um, so that's interesting. One thing that I'm curious about is because I have a feeling that one of the biggest um, red herrings is the sky world, because in the first trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, when it was just the sequel to Breath of the Wild, um, Zelda and Link were underground,
Yeah,
and
and
so
I was just going to say, judging by the picture I have up right now, I think that we are getting 7 dungeons,
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely,
which I'm
uh,
all for.
yes, that was definitely. You can bring back the shrines. I like the shrines. Shrines are cool. Probably don't have as many. Work harder on the dungeons. Um, but yes, I definitely think that dungeons will be a thing. Um, the Sheikah slate is gone. In its place, we have some sort of bionic arm thing,
Hmm.
um, which is fun. Uh, I'm definitely wondering. I'm definitely wondering how we're going to be dealing with the fact that the Master Sword is broken. Um, like if we're going to have to like reforge the Master Sword in some way. Um, Honestly, I'm more or less curious as to like is this legit like the same link? Because in some instances this seems like the same link, and in other instances this seems like a completely different link. And so I'm almost wondering if there's some sort of time travel mechanic to it.
Uh, that has not crossed my mind. I feel like it is the same Link in Zelda, just from that opening cutscene that we got. Um, there was one of the hieroglyphic images, it was like Link or somebody was dead, surrounded by an army.
Hmm.
So I'm curious what that's all about, and if that's what a reference to what the tears are about. Maybe there's Zelda's
Yeah.
tears because Link has died. Um, but that's just speculation. I have no idea. So.
Oh yeah. I mean that's the fun part until we get the game itself is the speculation. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, even if you look at the logo for Tears of the Kingdom, you have the Ouroboros behind it,
Mm-hmm.
which is representative of the Zonai people. Which, like I said, it's been a crazy week. I've gone on a deep dive watching Zeltic and Nintendo Black Crisis and all these different people just because it's been an insane week.
Mm-hmm.
um, and if you look at the Master Sword, it's normal but then rusted and broken, and you can't tell me that this does not look like it's of the Twilight.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that is a Twilight sword. Yeah, that's
Like,
interesting.
yeah, like so right now I'm working, and I did this on purpose because I don't remember specifically when, but I just got the feeling that the three most important games to play going into this are going to be Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time, and Twilight Princess. I just had that feeling, and so that's why I ended up buying Skyward Sword HD, because I'm like, all right, I got to play through this, and now I have Ocarina of Time 3D. I've already had Twilight Princess HD on the Wii U, so though those three games are definitely ones to finish before Tears of the Kingdom comes out. Um,
So I
so
just want to throw some caution with speculation. I speculated so much about Twilight Princess that I ended up ruining the game for myself. um, I had a theory, and the game seemed to follow along the theory for quite a while until it didn't. Was that Midna was building Majora's, or building Majora's mask to stop Zant, and in my head, Zant was going to be Fierce Deity Link that had gone out of control, and I believe that so much up to a point where it's like, oh, Zant's just a butler, and I was just like, who, what, and it literally ruined the game for me. So I just caution people: don't think you're so sure. Like, oh yeah, that's the Midna sword or Twilight sword or what.
right, right.
Be ready for your theories to be wrong, because you can really
Yes.
affect a movie or a game if you're just, oh yeah, this is what they're doing, and then when it's not what they're doing, you're gonna be disappointed.
You could theorize that we're going to be getting a Fantastic Four casting, and then
Hmm.
D23 is ruined for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, and here's the thing: everything I'm saying, I don't think any of it.
Is 100% concrete.
Well, I was going to say even if it is there, it probably won't be 100% service level.
Yeah.
Like, because I think that's one of the coolest things about Breath of the Wild is like you can go to a place and you're like, wait a second, this is that one place from Twilight Princess or from Ocarina or from Wind Waker, or places like that. Like, I think one of my favorite things, and it's one of the saddest things ever, is right outside Hyrule Castle. You can go to the destroyed Lon Lon Ranch. Um,
Oh,
and
really?
that
I don't know if I've
Yes,
noticed that.
yeah, you can go to the destroyed Lon
I
Lon
think
Ranch.
what is cool about Breath of the Wild is I've played that game for hours. I still discover new stuff every time I play it,
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, I
and
th-
uh,
some
and
of my
it
favorite
just
stuff is like the names are like references to things too.
yes, absolutely all good. There's like a lot of the bosses from the original game are names of rivers or locations and stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. And if you take the whole map and you kind of turn it like so it's like sitting on its corner, you get the map from Link to the Past. Like
Yeah.
if it lines up just kind of not quite perfectly, but just enough, you're like, oh, that is the Link to the Past map, you know. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
it's pretty cool.
You got Death Mountain over here, and then over here you got the Lost Woods, and then right below that is the castle, and oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Going a little bit south, you've got Zora's River. No, it definitely is, and that's what I really like about Breath of the Wild, and that is, like I say, I'm speculating all this stuff about the Twilight. Um, I definitely think it's going to be there, but I don't think it's going to be surface level. Um,
Well, and the beautiful thing about Breath of the Wild was if you don't know any of that stuff, it's still a fun game. It does
oh
not
yeah,
ruin the
definitely.
experience.
Um, no, honestly, I think so. They always said that Breath of the Wild took a lot from Elder Scrolls. I can see that to a point. I think these games take so much from FromSoft games, like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all that, where like you can look into stuff and you can have like an entire lore run where you're literally stopping every 5 seconds to look at something cool,
Hmm.
and you'll learn something new, but you don't need to do that to have a fulfilling experience.
Yeah, very
Um,
cool, very
yeah.
cool. So we're this is coming out on the 12th of May. If you know me, um, weird things always happen on the 12th of May. This is a tradition for me, so it's interesting that this game is coming out on that date. So hopefully this is a good 12th of May this year. Historically, they could either be just insanity happening that day or something tragic happens that day. You just never know at the 12th of May. So, uh, all right, so let's move on from that. I think we've talked enough about Zelda. Uh, let's get to our final segment. He made me do it, and this will kind of be our final. He made me do it for now. Next week we'll probably switch to reading our book club. Where we're going to start reading Fantastic Four.
Hmm.
Um, so we decided to give each of us a movie to watch. So I gave Caleb a movie that I have been pretty hyped for lately, and that is RRR. So Caleb, what did you think about RRR? Or I guess I could tell you real quick what it's about.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a movie from Tollywood, which is not Bollywood. It's a different India group that makes movies, and this is kind of like a rewriting of history a little bit, where two actual people in India history, they kind of had them team up in like this movie where it's about one guy is trying to rescue a girl that was kidnapped from a village, and the other guy is trying to basically start a revolution and liberate his people. Though you don't find that out for a while. Um, and they're kind of it's kind of almost like a buddy movie where they develop this deep friendship. They also become enemies, and a lot of hyper action, hyper violence, where it's like over the top, not quite kung fu hustle levels, but kind of getting there.
Yes,
Um,
yes, very much so.
which makes it fun to watch. It is 3 hours though, so it's a little long. So I just want to see what Caleb thought about this movie.
So, definitely Kung Fu Hustle vibes the whole way through. Dude threw a tiger at a dude, which was awesome.
Yes, he
Um,
did.
but yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I do think, and honestly, I'm kind of curious if like this is like a norm in Indian films with it being so long, because I definitely think that the 3 hour mark, perhaps warranted, is not something that is totally my jam. Uh, and I know I'm saying that loving the Batman, um, but this, I mean, I think you said it best. This definitely feels like three movies in one movie.
Yeah.
I think we've got enough material for a trilogy here. But no, this definitely. I'm watching this and I'm like, this is kind of kung fu hustlish. This definitely seems like his bag. I get why he likes this movie so much.
It's
Uh,
kind of a mix between Kung Fu Hustle and Braveheart. Braveheart's just this
yeah,
over the top, yeah,
Revolution.
revolution against the man type movie, and that's what this definitely is.
Yeah. So yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was funny that there was like a really deep romantic subplot where they couldn't speak the same language.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. They played off that quite a bit about how he didn't really know her real name, and it was really good.
But yeah, this is very much a romantic comedy, and I love it. Um, it's a lot of it's definitely a lot of fun. It may not be one of those. I go back to Kung Fu Hustle a lot. I think you showed me Kung Fu Hustle whenever I
Uh
was
huh.
like 13 or 14 or something like that. I go back to that a lot. I may not go back to this as much,
Right.
basically because of the runtime. But I can never fault a good movie for having a long runtime, because it's just more the movie. So yeah, I very much enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
It's a very satisfying movie. You get what you want by the end.
Hmm.
Everything is resolved. There's a fun dance sequence in the middle, which just
Yes.
kind of comes out of nowhere, and there's almost points of this where it feels almost like a musical at points, but then they dial it back. Um,
I thought it may fall in the musical category. I'm not sure.
and then they end with this huge dance number at the end with the director, the actors, and I'm kind of like it's almost like propaganda for like all their people from throughout history, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
like like I want to see like an Indiana Jones movie end with Spielberg and Harrison Ford and George Lucas doing a big dance while like pictures of Theodore Roosevelt, Daniel Boone are shown in the sky, and just it was kind of, I didn't hate it like the big dance number at the end, but it was just kind of like, huh, okay, that's weird.
but yeah.
Yeah, this movie's a lot of fun, but it is long. It's very violent.
Yes, yes, my favorite part.
Just over the top violence. Like Caleb said, he throws a tiger at somebody. At one point, he picks up a motorcycle and just hits somebody with it, just launches it. And you're just like, wait, what?
Which, by the way, we have to establish because it says so at the beginning of the movie. I don't remember. There's one animal that's listed that's really funny, but it's like tigers and chickens, blah blah blah. None of them were harmed during the filming of this movie.
Yeah,
There's one they list that's like really funny, but I think it's like a boar or something.
it's yeah. They list several animals at the very beginning of the movie because there's a scene where there's a battle scene involving several animals. Uh, and I had seen that clip online before I saw the movie, so I thought that that was the climax of the film. So when that happened, like in the middle of the movie, I was like, "Oh wait, there's more to this movie." Okay, um, yeah, just really good movie. I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year. I still think that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. But this one's definitely up there. And
I'll get to it eventually. I definitely really want to watch it. I keep seeing trailers for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then freaking do you know Binging with Babish?
you've told me about him, and he's done a couple of the GT or Game Theory telethon, whatever
Oh, gotcha,
fundraiser
gotcha.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen him on there.
So they did the Everything Bagel from
Uh huh.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big part of the plot. Yep.
Yeah, he did that one. I think it was they did that this week. I haven't seen it because I feel like if I watch it, I might get spoiled with something because the fact that a bagel is an important part of the movie, I didn't know about that until then.
And if you look at the bagel in the movie, um, and there's a googly eyes out throughout the movie, they're opposites. Like the bagel, it's like the yin and yang. They're opposites of each other.
Ah,
It's really
yes,
cool.
the bagel and the googly eyes, the yin
Yes.
and yang.
Yeah. Very cool. So speaking of 3 hour movies, this one was almost 3 hours.
Yes.
Uh, so yesterday I was really into Attack on Titan. I was like, oh, I've got to watch this movie for Caleb, and so I was like, well, I'll just watch like an hour of it, and then I'll go do something else, and I'll finish it later. And I got into it. I couldn't stop watching.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like
And I'm not a fan of the first Blade Runner, but
neither am I.
this may be one to go back and watch it now.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, I really got into this. I really got hooked. It's a little slow.
Yes.
You could probably cut a good 30 minutes out of this movie, and it'd be fine.
So this one I was very curious about because movies like Logan, movies like The Batman, um, movies like Blade Runner 2049, I definitely love these slow burn, thought provoking movies that some
Hmm.
may consider boring. I think this is the first time I've made you watch one of them, so I was really curious um, how you would
No.
react to it.
I
Um,
really got sucked into the world. I was like,
oh
okay,
yes,
this is really fascinating. Um, I kept looking at at the map, going, I know her from somewhere. Then, I always have trouble recognizing her. What's her name? Robin, right?
hmm
Because she had the plastic surgery on her nose, so you don't recognize her from the Princess Bride. But that was
right.
it's definitely her. And then I kept going, oh, Joy looks familiar. Then I guess she's from Knives Out.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is Anna de Armas. She's from Knives Out, uh, War Dogs, uh, No Time to Die. I can definitely say, from the perspective of my generation of men, that Anna de Armas is like the actress right now.
yeah, she was definitely attractive.
Yeah.
Uh, Ryan Gosling. It occurred to me that I haven't really. I guess the only Ryan Gosling movie I've ever seen was Remember the Titans.
hmm
Um, so I thought he was great in it. Um, you,
Now,
you
for
did
those
not
of you who
tell me
don't
that
know,
that Jared.
oh yeah,
Go
Jared
ahead.
Leto's the bad guy.
Yeah, I did not. I was not expecting Jared Leto to show up. I was like, oh, Jared Leto. Okay, Morbius is
I
here. Okay,
I think this might be his best role specifically because like this character is also a freak.
okay.
Um, so I think that's a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know, Ryan Gosling is my favorite actor. So uh, yeah, I thought he was great in this. Now you're coming from the Guardians expert. Um, is this like 5 minutes not Batista's best work?
I thought this was, yeah, I thought he was really good in this. I think sometimes his Drax acting is not that great. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I thought that this was pretty good.
I love this whole you have never seen a miracle.
Right.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. And then his holographic love interest that remind me a lot of Spider-Man 2099. Although Miguel and Lila were not lovers, but it just reminded me of that relationship
Yes.
quite a bit. Um,
But then didn't it get sad whenever you realize that she was just programmed? And so it's like, oh man, like was he ever really in love? Like it
yeah, it's interesting, and I assume he died at the end.
oh yeah.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Not a question. He absolutely died at the end. Um
But
Officer
when
K's story's over.
Yeah, so when he reached out and the snowflake hit, it was similar to her when she reached out and the raindrops were hitting her hand. I noticed that too.
hmm
Um, yeah, I just enjoyed this movie, and now I'm kind of hyped to see what they do with Blade Runner 2099, the series they've announced.
Yeah.
Um,
If you haven't seen it yet, Blade Runner Black Lotus is pretty good. It's the Adult Swim anime that's like
okay, I
12,
may have to check
12
that
episodes long,
out.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty.
Um,
It takes place before the blackout, which is super cool. Uh,
okay.
now, I mean, like, and Harrison Ford's just a good actor, and we don't ever give him that much credit. Like we all know that Harrison Ford's like a legendary actor, but we don't like acknowledge how good of an actor he actually
Oh
is.
yeah, he's always great. Um, as long as he cares about what he's in,
Yes.
he's great. If he doesn't care, you get kind of like that Return of the Jedi performance. Where he's kind of like, yeah, whatever. But
Yeah. I also
I,
have to mention this, and it's very this is a very weird thing to talk about, um, but and I'll try to be as vague as possible. But those who've seen it um, will know what I'm talking about. The scene where they bring the girl home, and
mhm,
then Joy overlaps her.
yeah,
Um, that is such a cool scene. And usually those types of scenes, like in general, make me uncomfortable. But there's something so artistic about this kind that I'm like, this isn't as weird because like it's so cool the way they're doing it, which is a lot of fun.
and it's kind of cold how the next day then Joy's like, "We're done with you. Get out." you
Yeah,
know,
right, right.
it's yeah. Um, yeah, I really like this. It makes you rethink the first movie also because there's the whole debate about whether Harrison Ford's a replicant or not, depending on which version you're watching.
Hmm.
So then it's like, okay, was he programmed to fall in love with her so they could generate a child? It
Hmm.
makes you
Right.
rethink everything about the first
Yeah.
movie.
Well, and I think so the writers and especially Denny Villanueva, which I love Denny Villanueva. I think I love Arrival. Dune is pretty good, but I have to wait until the second one to decide if I actually liked it
Right.
because nothing happened in the first one. Um,
Right.
but they really get it because I think the first movie can be boiled down into one line um, in this movie, which is whenever he meets Deckard for the first time, and he's got a dog, and then Officer K is like, "Is he real?" And then Deckard's like, "I don't know. Ask him."
Right.
I think that is so like if you want your answer to the question of the first movie, there's your answer right there.
Right. Uh, I don't know what it is with these movies with Harrison Ford. I guess he's in his 80s now. They always feel like they're trying to kill Harrison Ford when they're making these movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And that whole sequence at the end of him in the water, I'm like, are they trying to kill him? What is going on? Uh,
Oh
so,
man,
and he,
I mean, honestly, like, who knows what's gonna happen on the indie set?
gosh, I mean, they already tried to kill him during the Star Wars Force Awakens.
Oh man, I and
The, the
honestly,
the
that
door fell on him and almost killed him.
I mean, that's insane because that is the Millennium Falcon. If anything were to kill Han Solo, it would be that piece of junk.
Right. I've heard he already got injured on the Indiana Jones set. So, and they're talking like, oh, we got to do reshoots. I'm like, no, no more reshoots. Leave Harrison alone. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I'm glad you enjoyed RRR. I think next week we will try to. I'll tell you this. Let's go ahead and try to read through the first 12 issues of Fantastic Four this week,
Okay.
and then next week we'll just do a Fantastic Four show and just talk about what we thought about it and what we think about Fantastic Four in general. So that'll be
Yeah,
next
yeah.
week's show. So that'd be very cool. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion about the Nintendo Direct and two movies that I think you should check out both of these. These are both really good films.
Oh yeah.
If you like film noir, the type of thing, sci-fi, Blade Runner 2049 is really great. If you like movies with over-the-top action and revolutions and that sort of thing, RRR is really great. It is subtitled, which I know a lot of people have issues with that, but I think it really works in this movie.
Yes.
Um, so highly recommend both of those. Um, but I hope you will join us next week as we discuss Fantastic Four next week. But until then, I've been Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and we will talk to you then. Bye.
See ya.